Hello, I'm Joey, and in this video today we're going to be talking about relationships. They don't really work. And honestly, you can try, you could be loyal, you can try your best to be loyal, because really all it comes down to is like your person you're with slipping up, and then you lose all that faith, and once that faith is gone, it's like opens a gate, and it's like you want to talk to everybody, and you just don't trust it. It's like even when you're having sex, you're just like, you're thinking about them being with someone else, and that's just, it's really harsh reality when you're dating someone. It just doesn't really work after someone has cheated on you, even though you want it so bad. It's tough, because there's nothing that can change. Like, you have to literally completely erase that, and it's hard. It always happens. You could sit there and be talking, having the greatest day, and you just lay there and look, and that's all you can think about is that person being with someone else, even if they had sex with someone, especially if they had sex with someone else. But the thing that bothers me more is when someone becomes emotionally detached, and they stay with you, and they tell you that they love you, and they say all this good stuff, and you're like all convinced, like, yeah, okay, good, my house is a home, like how you're supposed to feel. But I just cannot stand when someone emotionally detaches themselves from you and doesn't tell you. I think that's the biggest slight, is just like if you're dating someone, telling them you love them, sleeping with them either every night or some nights out of the week, being all sweet, being how it was when your relationship started, not arguing, but at the same time you're talking to someone else, and I don't think that that's in any way right. And I'm not saying it's not okay to have friends. Friends are fine. Every girl, every guy needs fucking friends of the other sex. It just needs to happen, and it's better for you to settle and agree and let them have those friends. And not that you let them because you're not in control of them, but let them have a bond with someone of the other sex, because it's good. Like, we're humans, we're supposed to interact. Well, we're not really built to interact, but it's good to interact because you learn a lot when you interact with people, and most people don't really socially interact these days. I'm just as guilty as anyone. I'm a huge introvert, but whenever I meet someone new and either they start a conversation or I do, I just love talking to them, especially crazy people. I love talking to crazy people. You could just talk to them all day, and you're gonna learn stuff and you're not gonna learn stuff. I mean, it's just fun to sit there and have a conversation, listen to someone else's stories for once, instead of just mainstream, the norm, what you see every day, the news, celebrities. Talk to someone real about their life. Like, listen to their crazy stories, because I guarantee you, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, you've ran into some shit. So you could either get a good laugh or gain levity from talking to someone about what they've gone through that you haven't either experienced or been in a position where you would have to face that, and they have, and it's just good to understand how other people saw it. It's like amazing, because every single person in the world is creating their own movie real time. Like, it's how that you perceive things, and 10 people could all be looking at the same thing. 9 of them could all think that it's blue, but the one other person perceives it as green. It's crazy how life is different from each person, and the fact that we can't access the brains, because I feel like if you could access everyone's brains, and you could either see things through their eyes or like see how their brain is actually working, I think that'd be a beautiful thing. And I was talking about relationships and I got off track, I'm sorry. But emotional detachments, I don't agree with them. I think that if you're going to be with someone, you should be with that person. If you don't want to be with them, tell them first. Don't just go up and be like, fuck you, or like, hey, we need to break up. Because for someone who just met someone, or someone who's been in a relationship for 3 years, girl or guy, it's going to be a weird situation. It's going to put that person in a weird place. If you're really not happy with the relationship, and you can ask yourself, can I live without this person? And your answer is 100% yes, then you have to leave that person. You have to move on to better things, and maybe not better things, because not everyone's different. It doesn't matter. Every relationship's different, so you could face different things in different relationships, but move on and try to find that person who makes you whole, someone who you're loyal to without even having to think about it, which is something I've just recently discovered because I'm the biggest emotional detachment guy in the world. I always need a backup plan, and I guess it's like a confidence issue more than anything. It's like whenever I feel like I'm losing a relationship, or I see something, the grass is greener on the other side type deal, I've been one to keep relationships just for the love that's right in front of you. You don't go a night without someone saying I love you. You don't go to bed alone most nights. I've held on to that way too long. Many times when I knew in my heart, in my head, in every part of my body that I shouldn't be with this person because it just doesn't work. We're not built to work. And the hardest thing is saying goodbye, accepting that you do have to be alone. And I think that's the biggest problem for me, especially. I don't speak for everyone, but I do not like the feeling of being alone. Like, I can sit in a room alone, I could spend weeks alone, I could live out in the middle of nowhere, but by choice, I feel so much better with just like someone to confide in, someone to fall back on at any times. Like, and some people do that with their friends. I like having someone that I can trust everything with, a girl that I can fall back on, to where we can laugh when we need to, we can be sweet when we need to, we can be physical if we need to. And I love the fact of everything about the physical love. It's just like from massages to just like holding each other, and of course sex, clearly. But I think that the hardest thing in relationships is understanding that if you don't believe it's gonna work, it's not going to. Like, anyone can be happy with anyone. That's a true fact that I've lived by, and I've been able to find peace in situations that were horrible, just like both people screaming, and right after that I find that level of peace to where I can just calm down and be like, let's just enjoy each other. Let's enjoy each other as people, as humans, as souls. Just like talk. Relationships become this whole standard of what you have to change. Like, you just have to push to get this. You have to, sometimes someone says I love you too much. Sometimes someone says I love you too early. Sometimes you just don't really feel saying I love you. Like, even if you're saying it, it's like, yeah, love you, like, bye. It's not a real love. It's something that just, you float and you just use that word because it's a peacemaker for people. Like, when they hear I love you, it's like, okay, that person's got my back. Like, you know, love is a strong word, and I don't understand why, because it is just a word. Someone should know where they stand in the relationship just by the interaction between themselves. Like, you can understand, someone could say that they have the happiest relationship, but you know that you're not happy. Like, you know that you argue, you know that you disagree, you know you don't like everything that person does, and you sit there and feel hatred towards that person, like, have negative thoughts about them. And that's where I've changed myself in a relationship standpoint, is I've always been, how do I explain this? I've always been the guy that I can't even think of what to say. How can this be conveyed? I've always been the guy to sit there, and after a relationship's gone on for a while, I feel distance. Distance is the best word that I can use. Distance from the partner, whoever I'm with. It just happens over time. Because I'm not really in love. I feel like I'm in love. The whole honeymoon puppy dog stage comes into effect, where every time you see this person, you're like, hell yeah, like, that's my new girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever you're doing. And you're just like, it's almost like you feel a glow. It's something you really can't explain. When you first really, like, feel just the emotion of love, or what you think is love, it's overpowering, and it's like, it's almost addicting. I'm definitely addicted to love, like, and it's became a problem because before I started being with women or having sex with women, which was at 16, I haven't been able to get off the drug of women since I've started taking it, or using it, whatever you want to call it. But before that, like, women were just, it was fine. Like, I could say anything to them. I didn't really worry about how they felt. Well, I worried about how they felt because I was always taught my mom to be really sweet and to always, like, with any human being, and always respect women deserve respect. They deserve to be protected in any situation. But it wasn't like I didn't have sexual feelings towards them. I just saw them, they're just another person. But after I started having sex and relationships, it became something more. It's like a stigma. They become something more serious that you really, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like, I'm shy around some girls. I worry about what they think of me. Like, and that's just not me. Like, that's not how I grew up. When I grew up, I didn't care. I literally, I'd fall on my face right in front of the prettiest girl at school and smile at her and say whatever and just walk away and not even think twice about it. And now it's like I live my life trying to, like, impress. Like, and that's what I like most about being in a relationship too, is you don't have to impress the outside world. Like, you dress, whenever I'm out in public with the person I'm with, I dress nice so they look good, in a sense, you know, like where you look good together, instead of always having to look nice when you go out alone, hoping you either someone sees you as attractive, or you meet someone and talks just start happening and you go from one step to another and you're dating that person or talking to that person, I guess is another way. But when in a relationship, it's just so much easier, because it's like, yeah, you dress to impress, but it's with your person that you're with. I dress to make them look better. Like, okay, this is your boyfriend, Maria. Like, if we were running into her friends or anything, they'd be like, oh, wow, he's cute. He's got himself together, clean cut, nice clothes, no stains, no rips, you know? Like, just trying to look normal, like, simple, but together, you know? Because a lot of people, especially here in North Carolina, dress like complete bums every day, and they just don't care, and I think that's hilarious. I really do. And it's funny because some of those guys have steady girlfriends who are actually pretty attractive, and I don't get the whole, like, oh, he's a bad boy, oh, he doesn't care. Like, you're not gonna care about this. He's not gonna put you any further in life. You need a guy who, like, has ambition, wants to be better. You know, there's just some guys out there who are like, oh, I'm gonna sell weed and I'm gonna get rich. Like, dude, you're not gonna get rich. Like, it's weed. Like, unless you open a good business, you're not gonna really make that much money off weed, and you're eventually just gonna get caught up or robbed or killed. That's just the drug game. Like, it's a risk, and it's stupid because you're, like, constantly bouncing, like, oh, I'm rich today, oh, I'm broke tomorrow. Like, that's the problem with being a drug dealer or a gangster, is, like, you have fake money, pretty much. Like, you have money, but you don't have the concept of money. So every time you get a lump sum, boom, it's gone. It's that kind of guy isn't going to get you anywhere. Like, it's just pointless. And, oh, he's got a big dick. Oh, he doesn't care. Like, get over it. Like, come on. Like, everyone has their own choice. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be putting my opinion that heavily on it, but especially if you dated me and if you cheat on me, or if you leave me for someone else, please make that person better than me. Because I honestly, if you better yourself, I'll be happy. You know, like, I'm human. Like, there's always going to be someone better, like, and there's someone who can obtain your needs better, provide for you better, like, whatever you want. Like, I think it's good if you progress. Like, if you leave me just because, yeah, I'm still getting my life together and all that stuff, whatever, you left me for someone who is doing right, that's fine. I'd literally be like, wow, I'm pretty hurt that you left me because I did love you, or I was infatuated with you, but don't leave me for a piece of shit who is either older than me or in a worse situation in life than me, because you're just downgrading. No matter if he's the cutest fucker in the town, don't downgrade yourself. If you're gonna be with someone else, be with someone who you can be better with. Like, always, that's how I want to look at my relationships from now on. If this one that I'm currently in doesn't work, I'm going for something better. And if I have to wait for that by bettering myself to get a better girl, or girl's in a better place in her life, then that's fine. I'll be patient, I'll be single, because I'm done playing roulette with girls where it's like, you meet a girl, you hang out, you guys hook up, do whatever, talk a bunch, and the next thing you know, she's at your house every night. She's wanting to date you, and you're just like, oh, sure, we're both alone, let's try it, what can go wrong? a month later you're gonna fucking be in hell, if not less time with certain people. Like, a lot of people just don't get along well. It's sad, and especially with how technology is and all the chances, all the temptations and how simple sex is nowadays, because it used to be a lot different. It used to be where it was harder. It was more of like a risque type thing. Now it's like, I feel like sex is, it's everywhere. It's in advertisements, it's on the internet. Facebook is used pretty much as a dating site if you really look at it. Just a huge one that doesn't have the stigma over it, but it's connections. Most people meet their significant others on social media, which is crazy to me, because it's like, okay, at one time I was actually, this is one of my baby mamas, weirdly enough, but I met this girl and we started talking online. We talked for like 3 or 4 nights, and then she messaged me asking if I wanted to have sex, and I was like, well, shit, I've been single for a couple months now, why not? Like, and she was like, but you have to date me first. And I was like, well, I don't really know you well enough to date you. And she was like, well, it's kind of whatever, you're dating me. If you don't like me, leave me. And I was like, alright, fuck it, we're dating. And that's how my relationship started. It was pretty good for a couple months, like, honestly, because we were very similar. We liked all the same music, we liked all the same comedy, we liked all the same shows, all the same movies. It was really easy at first, but our similarities just kind of fell to the wayside when we both as people were different in how we live. I was more structural, cleanly, smoked a lot of pot back then, but I was very to the point. I went to work every day, 6 out of 7 days a week, paid for all my own stuff, had my rent paid up, everything, and she was just lazy. I'd literally buy her a pack of cigarettes a day. She'd never buy packs. I would buy snack food the night when I would come home for her to have for the next day. By the time I got home, all the snack food would be eaten in a 6 to 8 hour shift. Everything would be gone. The pack of cigarettes would be gone. So I was paying for 2 people, and that just doesn't work out very long, because you feel shit on in a way, honestly. Like, you feel like you're doing all the work and that person's not even trying to get a job. You know, it's like, it's deflating when you are going to work every single day. You are cleaning up the house behind this person, you're still doing all the laundry, you do all the dishes, and you pretty much do everything while they just sit and chill. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not in that great of a place to be carrying people to begin with, because I'm trying to start my own life, and I've done this throughout my whole life. I try to carry my friends, give them money, give them rides when I don't need to, go out when I don't need to, like, you know, everything that, all the temptations of being young. Like, you go out all the time, or you want to buy pot. And pot, honestly, for the longest time, just, it kept me on an even keel. It's just, I smoked it to calm down, because I worked in high stress situations, and when I got home, it was like, well, I've worked all day, I deserve to get high, you know, I deserve to enlighten myself and just relax. And most of the times it would just turn into people coming over, playing spades, and just being stoned during it, passing it around, laughing, carrying on, having a good time, or watching documentaries and learning, or just eating way too many munchies. Like, I don't see the problem with weed, but I do at the same time. Now, stopping it, because I've smoked every day since I was 17 until about 2 months ago. It's been off and on for a little bit, but now I've quit, and my body is starting to come back. My brain's starting to be more normal than it had been, less in need of the weed, even though it's not something that is addictive by medical standards. It's still addictive mentally, like that whole escape from pain, or the peace of being high, because like, you just think about stuff that doesn't matter. And I think that's the biggest problem with weed, is you think about all the shit that doesn't matter in your life. You don't think about bettering yourself. You do. You think about it. It's in the back of your head. Like, you worry about it, but you like, hit the bowl one more time, and it's like, I want to listen to this song now. Like, you don't even think about the things you need to change, what you need to be doing, what you need to be spending your time on. It's something, you just kill your time. You just smoke pot and do mindless things. Surf YouTube, talk to people, which is never bad, but you're still not progressing yourself. You're not figuring out ways to save money, finding a better job than the one you're at. I think pot helps people to coast, and that's one thing I've really noticed in myself is I've coasted years and years and years and years. I've just coasted through life. I work, I paid for food, house, and weed for years, and I'm done coasting, It's just once you start sobering up and getting more of a normal brain to where you're just focused on what your brain is actually telling you and not pushing off things. It's tough because life is rough. All these things are rough, relationships. If anytime I had a problem back then, I think why a lot of relationships kept on going is we'd argue and then smoke a bowl together. Argument over when you're sitting there laughing because you're stoned, you're just chilling, hanging out, watching something or laughing at nothing. It makes things, it's a push-off drug. It's cool when you're in high school, it's cool to do occasionally. If you need an escape, I think pot should be legalized in that sense, to where it's you can sit back and smoke a bowl. You can be allocated a certain amount a month if you don't need it medically. You can still have it for home use, home consumption. You come home from a hard day's work, you should be allowed to smoke a bowl and lay down. If you're doing right by yourself, you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of yourself, your bills are kept up, I don't think there's any problem with smoking weed. If you got what you need to get going on, smoke weed. I think it's a good thing. It is relaxing, but it's when it comes every day. That's when it becomes the coasting drug, because that's every day you're just mindlessly doing nothing. Literally, and that's all that being high is, you mindlessly do nothing. Some people draw, some people create music. 96% of stoners, completely illegitimate statistic, but just my guess, 96% of stoners aren't doing shit. They're sitting on a couch laughing at a video or laughing at each other or just being idiots, which is fine. It's good to be relaxed, it's good to be chill, it's good to be an idiot every once in a while, because if you're too high strung, if you're constantly thinking about what could happen tomorrow, how your future's not working out as you planned it, it becomes stressful. It's a lot to deal with. And I think it's good to escape. But back to relationships. Don't get in them. You need to talk. You need to know the person almost as deep as a friendship for 6 months to a year before you should even think about dating them. Because people, especially between the ages of 18 and 27, most of our lives are still pretty much up in the air. We're all doing this, we're all doing that. Some of us went to school, some of us didn't. Some of us have really good jobs and get paid 10 times as much as the people who have a 4 to 6 year college tuition degree. And, not tuition, I'm sorry, degree. And, some guy just got lucky and his dad owned a business and he's like, well, son, work for me. $100,000 a year, and the guy's like, okay, cool. And I almost envy that, because I wish I was born into that, the opportunity where it's that person acts all bad and acts all confident, but they didn't work for it. They were just handed it, and I've never appreciated that, and I always have almost a level of disrespect for someone like that, especially if they're not down to earth and they're uppity and stuff like that. It's wrong. You were born into money, dude. If you didn't have your dad and who he was, you would probably be broker than me, because you're an idiot. You were just born with money. I don't know. Video over.